First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for taking the time. I really appreciate you joining me today. I really enjoy giving these webinars as a chance to talk a little bit more about some of the things that we can do with Leadfeeder that you may not realize. There's a lot of functionality in the product that isn't necessarily obvious right off the bat, and so this is a great chance to kind of share that info and be able to dig a little deeper and get more out of your investment. So yeah, this is titled Sell More with Leadfeeder. Really just kind of talking about some of the features that can help you really leverage Leadfeeder in your marketing and sales efforts. Who am I? My name is Jason Watt. I am your customer success champion. Basically here to help in any way that I can. And for those of you that are wondering, that is in fact a wolf in the picture with me. Should you ever find yourself in Colorado Springs, Colorado, obviously, there is a wolf sanctuary just outside of town that gives you a chance to interact with and feed the wolves. And if you get a chance to do it, I highly recommend it. It's one of the most fun things I've ever done in my life. So the agenda for today. So we're going to start by just kind of setting the scene. We're going to go over Leadfeeder basics a little bit. We're going to talk about how to customize your Leadfeeder, some tips for outreach, best ways to interact with your potential customers and your leads, some product updates that are coming, and then we'll wrap up with some Q&A. So to begin with, we've talked with a lot of our customers. We've spent a lot of time really trying to understand how best to help our customers. We noticed some things. So if you'll forgive us lifting the title of an unbelievably popular book that came out some years ago, there's 3 habits we've noticed in highly effective Leadfeeder users. One is you need to be able to take the time and have the knowledge, which is something we're going to give you here, to define what's interesting for you. Second, you need to be able to validate and delegate the data. And third, you need to be able to act on the intelligence that we deliver. So hopefully after today, you'll feel confident in implementing these 3 habits. So first, we could start with a product demo, just kind of lay the basis of Leadfeeder so that everything that we're talking about makes sense, kind of give you a little bit of a refresher. So I'm pulling up our instance of Leadfeeder here. This is actually our company's instance. So you can see we do get a pretty good amount of traffic here per month. And you can see there's a lot going on. This is one of the things that I always talk about with Leadfeeder is, you really do need to be able to, like we talked about the 3 habits, you need to be able to define what's interesting to you. You need to be able to make this mess of data make sense for you and your role, for you as your organization, for you as a marketing team, at any level that you need to. But you need to be able to whittle things down and see what you need to see. So for those, just to talk some real quick basics, on the left-hand side of the page, we've got what I call the lead pane. On the right side is what I refer to as the detail pane. So the left side is very static. You're always going to see leads. Which leads you're seeing depends on how you filter things. And there's certain information you're always going to see there as well. So you're going to see the names of the companies. You're going to see a color-coded bar based on our quality metric. That's our own way of defining which leads are the highest quality to us. And when we say a lead is high quality, what we mean is that it delivers a lot of data. There's a lot of information that we can use. So whether there's been a number of visits or those visits had a high number of page views, that sort of thing is going to deliver more data to us and enable us to call it a higher quality lead. You're also going to see the location of the lead. So that becomes increasingly relevant as we talk about companies that have multiple locations. Perfect example just happens to be here on the page. You can see Apple. Obviously, Apple is not headquartered in the UK, but the location that visited our site is in London. So as you are reaching out to larger companies that may have multiple locations, this gives you the ability to act with greater confidence, knowing that you're reaching out to the right location, which also then helps narrow down your research and figuring out who to talk to. So let's take a look here. Let's look at Northeastern University. So because I clicked on that, you can see that their information was brought up on the right-hand side in that detail pane. And so from the top, we've got company information. We've got information about the company size, the industry, their website, and their contact information. This will happen from time to time. It's just one of the pitfalls of trying to gain as much information as we can. Company size is very difficult to obtain an accurate count on, but we are currently working on finding new methods of obtaining company size information. But clearly, there's more than one person working at Northeastern University. As we continue down, we have the contacts frame. So this is going to show you Leadfeeder contacts and LinkedIn contacts. And just a refresher to make sure that you understand, Leadfeeder contacts, those are contacts that we've contracted with a number of companies, and we basically pull available information from what's out on the web. So as many people's contact information as we can get that we know work at a particular company, we're going to deliver that to you as basically another source of information. These may or may not be the people who visited your site. They may or may not be the people that you're looking to reach out to. But in this case, we've got 178 eligible contacts. Odds of someone that you want to talk to are pretty good there. In addition, we have the LinkedIn contacts. And so you can see here that pulled up 40 employees in your network. What that means is LinkedIn is actually working with my LinkedIn profile to parse my network and pull all first and second degree contacts and deliver those to me here in Leadfeeder. It's going to be different for each person that logs in, so you and your colleagues may not see the same people. That's a good thing. The idea behind the LinkedIn contacts is to avoid cold calling if at all possible. These are warm leads. There are people in your network that can theoretically introduce you to these people. So this is just something else that you can leverage as you're trying to reach out and drive greater sales and marketing efforts. And then we get down a little bit further and we get into the visit data. The visit data is honestly what I consider the most powerful part of our information that we deliver. It's one of my favorite parts of Leadfeeder. It's something that I find is easily the most helpful of everything that we do. And so as we look at the visit data, you can see here it's organized based on time. We had 2 visits from Northeastern. They were very close together. They both came from the same person. This is due to a feature that we have enabled called Leadfeeder Booster. That's a free addition to the product. You just need to go in and configure that. You can do so by going into your settings and clicking on Leadfeeder Booster. If you need some help walking through that, there's a great help article at help.leadfeeder.com. Just search for Booster, and you can find that information. You can see here the source is direct. What direct means is this is someone went in and they typed in their URL bar www.leadfeeder.com. They knew who we were and they wanted to come directly to our site. That can be very valuable information right there in and of itself. But if I click the plus, it's going to expand that and it's going to show me everything they looked at while they were here. So on our site, it's a more simplified version. For yours, it probably shows the entire URL. But these are different web pages that they visited. So they were looking at the integration pages, the product page, webinars page, where we are today, customers, pricing, partners, jobs, terms, company, looking at Leadfeeder Live America and Europe, again, looking at our partners, then looking at integrations dynamics, and it's a customer success story that we published. And then we go to the more recent visit. They also looked at a HubSpot article that we have. So there's a lot of information being delivered here. And this kind of gives you, what I like to do is take a look at this visit data and look at the questions that would cause someone to look this information up. So, what is it they're looking for? Are they trying to get a holistic view of us as a company? Are they looking for information available in one particular blog post to answer a particular question? Are they looking at a particular product in our catalog? Those are the questions that you should be asking, because that's going to give you a good frame of mind as you do your outreach, not only for who you should be reaching out to, but the way that you should be reaching out. I mean, obviously, if someone's just looking for general info about the company, you're not going to reach out and say, I know that a lot of people in your industry are interested in this one specific thing. Instead, that's a good opportunity to reach out and maybe start to build rapport, make a connection with someone. Whereas if they're looking at something like this and they viewed 90% of the pages on your site, that's someone who's looking for a holistic view. So that's someone who it'd be good to build that rapport with, and maybe start a conversation in general, because they came to your site for a reason. And then if we scroll down a little bit further, you can see this is the CRM connection. We use Pipedrive internally. We provide integrations with a number of different CRMs, Salesforce, Zoho, Pipedrive, HubSpot CRM, Microsoft Dynamics. And so as you get these integrations, if you're working with any of those products, this allows you then to link these leads to accounts that you have in your CRM. And it gives you the chance to then view the data equally on both sides. So one thing I could do is I could send the visit data to Pipedrive, and it's going to send this information into a field in our CRM. Additionally, I could create new activities or new deals from Leadfeeder, and that would then update in the CRM. And in this case, Yesa would be able to hop on and see the information that I've been sharing. So it's a really nice two-way flow of information between Leadfeeder and your CRM, and it's a great way to help you further organize your outreach. And then last but not least, we've got this comment section here. You can see Joran left he left notes that he gave them a call, no answer. Another good place to put that info aside from your CRM, if you just want to work your leads here without cluttering up your CRM with comments like that. Or anything you'd like as far as the information goes. Now, one other thing that's really important, and I kind of skipped it because I want to go back after we've already talked about the basics and talk about the ways that you can refine your processes within Leadfeeder. But one of those is going through these buttons up here. So you have the ability to assign leads to a particular user. You can email leads. So if there's people within your organization that you'd like to share this with, that maybe aren't a Leadfeeder user, or if you're working with a marketing organization, want to share this information with them, what have you. What you could do is you could click on the email button and either email to an existing Leadfeeder user or just type the email address of the person you want to email this to. And it's going to send them the information on this lead, including the visit data. So it's another way that you could share the benefit of Leadfeeder without people necessarily having to buy in and become users of Leadfeeder. You can also send to Slack. We have a Slack integration. So anytime we get new leads coming in, we do like to send the information to Slack and make sure that our salespeople are watching that. So if you use Slack, there's an integration you can use. You can also follow. So that'd be like assigning something to yourself. If you click on the follow button, you get a nice gold star there. And that's another way to organize. Or if you want to hide the information. So let's say we reached out to Northeastern and they said, yeah, we don't have any information for that sort of thing. Matter of fact, we don't like your product in general. And Jason, we don't like dealing with people who have facial hair. So goodbye. Not a lot we can do there. That's a dead lead. We don't want it taking up space, and we don't want it confusing people. So you can hide the lead. And not only will that hide it from the list currently, but should Northeastern come back and visit us again, that won't pop up in our feed because it's not worth our time. Now, let's say things change. I shave. They get someone new that isn't so facial hair phobic. Good news, we can just go in and go into your settings, and at the very bottom of your settings is the ability to view hidden companies and unhide them. So nothing that you've done in Leadfeeder is not undoable. And then last but not least, what I really like is this adding custom tags. So you can see here we've had some fun with our custom tags, and it gives you a real idea of the potential of custom tags. You can do it for just about anything. So above average number of visits. Alicia, who's one of our salespeople, she created a tag to show that she's working it. They could be an existing customer. They could be what we consider a high potential lead, however our organization classifies that. They could be a potential partner. So maybe they're an agency we'd like to deal with, who knows. But the nice thing is as you create these tags, what you could do is let's say that Alicia's working it and they're a potential partner. Well, I've added those tags. Those show up over here in the lead pane. Those show up for everyone in the organization. And it's a really easy way to classify things. And as you'll see in a minute, we also have the ability to filter by those tags. I'm going to go ahead and clean that up before I hop out of this. And the last thing that I think is really essential for you as you're using Leadfeeder is the ability to create feeds. So you can see down here, we've created a lot of different feeds. These all show up under the custom feeds section on the homepage of your detail pane. But you can create a feed for just about anything you want. And what a feed is it's a stack of filters. So you can filter the leads based on behavior when they're on the website, whether they had their first visit during a certain time frame, whether they hit a particular landing page, viewed a particular page's URL, whether they were on the page for a certain amount of time. You can also go based on method of acquisition, whether they came in via certain ad content, through an email marketing campaign that's tied to your GA, through a particular Google keyword, or even you can go by source. So you could view leads that came in as a result of a website you're partnered with, or Facebook, or LinkedIn, or anything like that. You can also go based on the company information itself. You can filter by city, company name, country. Region is going to include states, industry, etc. You can go based on email marketing, so if it's an email campaign or a mailing list, or by Leadfeeder activities. So like I was talking about earlier, those tags, you wanted to filter out and not view any current customers, you could do that as well. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. And then also based on CRM activity. So whether they're connected to the CRM, who the deal owners, what stage of the deal is, you filter by all of that. So by way of example, if we're talking from a sales perspective, let's say I was just hired as a new salesperson, and my region is, let's call it the West Coast. So I want to narrow it down and go region is California, and I also cover Washington, and I also cover Oregon. In addition, I want to filter this down a little bit further, and I'd like to see, let's go ahead and let's take a look at customers that stayed on our webpage for a while. I'm not looking for anything too in-depth, but I do want to filter out any bounces, which real quick, anytime, if you're not familiar with that nomenclature, a bounce is when someone comes to a single page on your website and then leaves your website without going to any further pages. That is classified as a bounce, and it's recorded as having been a visit of 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. So if I just want to filter out the bounces, there we go. I could say visit length of at least 2 seconds. And then also, let's say that I wanted to narrow this down even further. And like I said, let's say I don't want to talk to current customers. Boom. So this is an automatically titled JSON feed. I could call this West Coast feed or Jason's primary feed. And this has just been a very quick, easy rundown of these customers are in California or Washington or Oregon, and they were on the page for at least 2 seconds, and they are not tagged as a current customer. You can see the power of this. You can see all the different ways you can do this. From a marketing perspective, you could look at leads in a particular industry. Let's say you just wanted to view leads in the aviation industry that visited as a result of a particular marketing campaign that you did. So you have this ability to create these feeds around virtually anything you want, and refine it as you need to. You can share these. I mean, everyone has access to the feeds, so they can see how you created them. And then also, just trying to make your life easier. So you've created this feed, and you want to make sure that you're always up to date on the information coming in. But maybe logging in every day isn't something you necessarily want to be tasked with. Well, good news. You can then go in and you can set up yourself as an email subscriber or set someone else up. And we can send either daily or weekly or both emails to that individual, letting them know what updates have come into the feed. So as new customers qualify based on the filters that you've set up, we can make sure that you're notified of that and make sure that you're always cognizant of that. We try and make sure that this information from Leadfeeder is viewable as many different ways as possible, because the last thing we want is for people to get frustrated with the platform. I personally believe it's a very easy platform to navigate. but tool fatigue is a very real thing. So those email subscriptions are a great way to make sure you're always getting that timely information, but you're not necessarily tasked with making sure that you log into a particular platform every day, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of the product demo. So as I talked about before, we do integrate with a lot of different things. For CRMs, like I mentioned, Salesforce, Pipedrive, Zoho, Microsoft Dynamics. We integrate with a few productivity tools. I previously mentioned Slack. In addition, we integrate with Zapier. For those of you that are not familiar, Zapier is a wonderful tool. We just happen to work with them. Think of them as a universal connector. So they integrate with over 1,000 different platforms, and they also integrate with us. So they allow us to share information through them to that other platform. So if you use a CRM that maybe we don't, or a marketing automation tool that maybe we don't necessarily have an integration for, odds are you can use Zapier to create what they call a Zap to allow that information to be shared. And then in addition, the other integrations we have for data enrichment, Leadfeeder Booster, like I mentioned earlier, allows you to tag in individuals that visit the site, so you can see how many people are involved in a particular visit. We also have a MailChimp integration, which if you're using MailChimp, I highly recommend setting up the integration. It actually allows you to view when specific individuals viewed an email that you sent and then clicked through and came to the site. So it's one of the ways that you can actually identify a specific individual that is coming to your site. So we talked a little bit about, I kind of covered a little bit how to reach out to customers and try and build that rapport, try and start a sales conversation going. So outreach tactic number 1, email. Email is ubiquitous. I mean, let's be perfectly honest, who here doesn't get more emails than they want in a given day? So you can send out one-to-one personal emails through Gmail, Outlook, etc. You can send one-to-many emails, create email campaigns, and track opens and clicks from your personal email. And then we also have cold outreach automation. So you can get verified email addresses and send automated email campaigns through things such as outreach.io, fly.io. There's just a few different ways that you can reach out by email. As we're talking about the one-to-one or the one-to-many, you can either have a direct or an indirect way of approaching your leads. The direct, better known as straight to the point. Try and book a call or a demo with the person right away. You're going to shoot them an email and says, hey, you know what? Okay, the next big thing is going to help you out. I'd love to take 5 to 10 minutes. Let's talk. Do you have time available today? Great way to go. Or you can go kind of a more indirect route, build rapport, and send relevant content based on what they view on your website. I talked about that a little bit earlier. Saying, hey, you know what? I understand that Northeastern is an old and prestigious university. As we've been working with more universities, we're trying to gear content towards them. And I'd like to get your opinion on some of the content that we've created. Would any of the following be of use to you? And you can send links to blog posts, send links to e-brochures, white papers, that sort of thing. It's a great way to kick the conversation off and get started talking about things without necessarily having to turn directly down the road of talking about sales. So as we say, straight to the point, for us, it's very easy. Hi, name. Your company, your team at ABC Company has been actively researching our website visitor identification solution, and I want to make sure that you have a full understanding of how we generate qualified leads based on your anonymous website traffic. You have 10 minutes to chat this week, so that I can go over how marketing directors leverage Leadfeeder to generate 10 times more leads. So there's some very important things I did in this email. One, I tried to generate some curiosity, some FOMO, fear of missing out. Odds are if you receive this email, you'd be a little curious. How do you know that my team has been researching things like what Leadfeeder could offer? It's a good way to arouse people's curiosity, which can then lead to conversations. So always a good thing to include. In addition, you want to make sure that your outreach is always personalized. People know when they're getting form letters. No one likes to get a form letter. It feels impersonal. and has the opposite effect of what you're trying to do. But the truth of the matter is you need to work smart, not hard. So sending form letters is very doable, so long as you have enough personalization in there. So in this case, you can see you personalize the name of the company, and their position within that company. And last but not least, you want to make sure you've got a hook, something to lead them on, a call to action. And the call to action is usually an appealing statistic. I mean, you can see here what we used. Let's go over how you can use this product to generate 10 times more leads. There's a marketing director, sales director around who doesn't want 10 times more leads. So great way to reach out and make sure that you're delivering that good info and ensuring that you're getting the clicks on the emails that you're sending out. All right. Oh, and also something to note, do you have 10 minutes to chat? Very important. It's a low barrier to entry. 10 minutes is something people have. 30 minutes, let's consult my calendar. Let's see if I can fit this in between meetings. Shoot, we may not be able to talk until next week if it's a 30-minute call. But for a 10-minute call, usually you can get someone right away, be able to book either a demo or a trial sign up, something like that, just so you can get talking and get the ball rolling in the right direction. Example number 2, building rapport, aka the more indirect approach. So you can see here, name. I came across this helpful blog that helped me increase my conversion rates and thought you might also be interested because you're also in the sales space. And so then we got a link here. After writing 10,000 cold emails for 550 companies, this CEO shares a strategy for getting higher response rates. Great information. Like you were seeing in the visit data, your examples for this, you're going to want to tailor to the company that you're reaching out to based on the information they gave you. Whether it's information on the industry, whether it's information on the pages they visited, still you want to tie this back and make sure that it's related to that, which is going to make you appear knowledgeable. It's going to make you appear timely. These are both adjectives for companies that people want to work with. So again, personalization is key. You can see here we have the name and also their sphere, sales space. Relevant content, absolutely. Always make sure that anytime you're reaching out to a customer, you're offering something of value. I call it the bring a cookie principle. If someone always reached out and brought you a cookie when they contacted you, you'd be pretty happy to see them show up. So if you're emailing people and you're delivering something of value, their likelihood to just delete that email is dramatically lower. So make sure that you're always driving relevant content when you're reaching out. Outreach tactic number 2, LinkedIn. This is a big one. There's a few different ways to reach out. First and foremost, LinkedIn has their in-mails. So it's a way to email someone directly about something. They also have their sales navigator, which allows you to filter, monitor, and communicate with customers. We have the follow feature, like I was showing you earlier. And then for marketing, we also have sponsored posts or emails. So through this, you have the ability to kind of develop that relationship with someone on LinkedIn before you necessarily reach out to sales capacity. Again, it's worthwhile looking at what their previous actions were. Look at what their previous posts on LinkedIn were like. Look at what their previous activity on Leadfeeder has been. And through all of that, you should be able to determine a good way to move forward. LinkedIn sponsored posts are fantastic. I think this is something that gets not enough time in the sun. And what's really great about it is it allows you to be really, really tactical with your outreach. So as you've developed an idea of what you want to be sending out, of what your user base is looking for, you can then pick content that you've curated based on that information and make it highly targeted based on location, based on company name, based on position within the company. So let's say that you were particularly interested in automotive, breaking into the automotive field. Well, shoot, absolutely. You could tailor content and maybe have a success story from another automotive customer. You could target specifically automotive companies And if you know there's a particular site that's uh, within the company. When I say site, I mean location that has a higher concentration of these people. Um, you can target that location specifically. So you don't maybe product manager is too vague of a term. The product managers at XYZ company in the Austin, Texas location are working on something you can add value to. You can reach out and specify Austin, Texas in there. Then there's also the LinkedIn follow button. This is really, really important. I think one of the things that we do all too frequently with LinkedIn behavior is immediately try and connect with people. And if the term trying to connect with people sounds forced, it probably is. You should always be sending out good information as you're trying to meet with people, get meetings, get time on the books, get a demo in. You need to make sure that they have a desire to talk to you as well. That can't be a one-way street where you want to sell to them and they don't care about you. So one of the things you can do to help establish yourself as a knowledgeable individual and an advocate for them is to follow that person instead of connecting right away. So if you go to more, you click follow. It gives you the ability to see what they're doing. Their activity is going to show up in your LinkedIn profile, and you're going to be able to see what's going on with them before you connect. That way, when you attempt to connect, you're able to include a very nice 2-3 sentence message about what you can bring to the table for them. Great way to go. A lot of people recommend it. There's a good reason for that. It's easy to use, and it's so dead simple. It's almost obvious. Let's talk about a few customer case studies we had. So within just 30 days of using Leadfeeder with Pipedrive integration, we're able to increase our sales demo rate by 700%. 700%. Within a few days, they saw a 7x increase. That's amazing. We even booked a sales demo with a Fortune 500 company. This came from a very small company that we work with. And so it's really great that what they were able to do in terms of driving that immediately. For smaller companies, being able to get the attention of a Fortune 500 is huge. And I know they were very excited about what they were able to do in adding Leadfeeder. Specifically, they talked about their Pipedrive integration and being able to share information back and forth between Leadfeeder and their CRM, and that being of huge benefit for them. So their sales process involved a few things. Number one, daily sales huddle to discuss all of their Glengarry leads. Glengarry being, our shorthand here for the primo, the top of the deck, what have you, the best leads. And so they were able to filter out all companies that may not be a good fit based on the leads they received. They were able to find contact information for individuals within each organization, again, using those Leadfeeder leads, the LinkedIn leads there in Leadfeeder, or the LinkedIn contacts rather, import contacts and send visit details to Pipedrive so they could send information to their CRM, and then they followed up by email and phone. Nothing revolutionary. This just gave them a chance to target companies that had visited them. If you had a choice between talking and trying to sell to someone who'd never heard of you or someone who was already interested in your product, which would you choose? Well, Leadfeeder makes that obvious for you. And so beyond prospecting, other ways that you can leverage Leadfeeder. There's a lot of intelligence that we're able to uncover through Leadfeeder, such as the performance of your marketing campaigns. I talked a little bit about creating feeds around that. The profitability of advertising efforts. So again, being able to see which advertising efforts are getting the clicks from the companies that you want. Not just getting clicks in general, but for particular industries and companies that you're targeting. Industry interest in your product. Like I said there, see which industries are actually interested. You may be surprised. The effectiveness of gated content. If you specify particular URLs, you can see whether people are coming up and actually viewing your gated content, or maybe they're just coming up to the page where, in order to view this e-brochure, please enter your email, your phone number, your name, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of people get scared off by that. So if you're thinking about ungating your content, Leadfeeder can provide you with good data as far as whether or not that's worth your time. We could also show you which pages on your website are the most popular, help you streamline your website design. You can also see which companies are attracted to your blogs. Always important. Blogs are essential, especially now. That's how so much good information is shared. And you can see buyer behavior on your website. That's always essential. One of the things that I always recommend doing, this is kind of a pro tip from my time in utilizing Leadfeeder and talking to companies about it, is, we talked earlier about creating custom tags for sold. Well, then after, 2, 3, 6 months, you can create a feed where you are just identifying those leads that you were able to sell, and then go through and take a look at their behavior on the site. What does it have in common? Were all of these companies brought in as a result of a particular ad campaign? Did they hit a particular landing page on your website? Did they go to particular blog posts? So you get a better feel for what buyer behavior actually looks like. If you do have any questions moving forward, please, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. There's my email address. We can talk a little bit about what we went over today and maybe personalize some of this for you.